Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I thought we would continue our journey into Kendra's Card Challenge and working on my sort of summer themed color palette that we've got going to play with the Friendly Fin set, which is a dual layer stamping set, has a bunch of fish and a very happy shark. So thought that we would do that. And I stamped out using Memento the base layer of the shark. So I'm just going to, then I took the shadow layer and just sort of lined it up. Just get the second layer on. I thought to kind of keep in the color palette, but mix it up a little bit. I would actually do the shark in pink, which is, I'm sure, not correct from a actual shark standpoint, but I thought it would be pretty fun because the rest of the card is basically going to be blue and green with a little bit of orange. So I thought the pink would really make it pop, and it does. This isn't perfectly lined up, so what I think we will do is a second pass. And you can actually, let me just clean my stamp off quickly. As you can see, the line is a little bit down into the line here is a little bit not quite lined up. So this line is coming in not quite where we would want it. So I'm going to flip this over and we can actually, I'm curious if we try and do it the opposite way, if it will work better. So since I have this all ready to go, let's do that and see how that works. Because I have not tried I have not tried doing the uh, second layer first and then doing the first layer. So we will see which side works out better. There we go. So we have our shadow down. Then I will just grab our other piece. We can just sort of line that up. As you can see, we didn't get a fully crisp stamp, but it doesn't really matter for these shadow layers as much. Just because once they're all down, the black line art is really gonna come forward. And this actually seems like it'll be a little easier to line up this way, just because you can get your head right over it and see where the black lines would go. Essentially, you want sort of this belly line to be on the outside. But let's just pick this up. You don't inherently have to do this in any particular order. It's just sort of whatever works best for you. So let's just do that here. And it looks like this will be good. Now, you might be wondering why the shark, there we go, that's about perfect. Now, you might be wondering why the shark is not fully in frame here, and that's because of the card sketch. Let me bring that on camera now so you can take a look at what we're going to make. So you're going to have banners kind of going down this side once we are done. Let's just clean off our stamp wheel and go from there. This would be a good time probably to tell you a little bit about Kendra's Card Challenge if you are not familiar. It is a quarterly card making challenge, and basically it allows you to turn 6 sheets of pattern paper, as you can see we have 3 we're using in this card today, into 15 unique cards. And I like that. It's a little bit different than other challenges in that the cards you get are all unique, which I really like because then they don't necessarily have to be a set per se. You can use them however you'd like. Anyway, these challenges run for a quarter, that is 3 months. Although you can take a photo of your card set of 15 cards every month, and you can enter that into the challenge album, and then a winners are selected from that. You can grab a little bit of our summer splash here and just make a little bit of ocean to have let our shark sort of hang out in. And we will just tap off because I don't want it to be too crazy. I don't really have to worry about the part that's getting covered up here, but I do want to bring in a little bit more color just so that it's a little less stark white, essentially. You can get access to this challenge through Kendra's Patreon, and that is linked in the description box below. It's also linked in any of the Kendra's Card Challenge Hop videos, of which there are a good number on this channel if you're interested in seeing how we would use particular brands with this. Now, I'm leaving the shark herself white so that you get some really nice contrast. So I think that's about all we need to do there. Um, Let me see if there's any other things. Oh, the monthly giveaways are held on Kendra's channel, which is also linked, which is Cards by Kendra. And you should watch the monthly videos if you're interested in if you want a prize because they are announced there, but there's a claim process. What we're going to do is basically have our shark here, and then this will go over the top like that, and then we'll have all of our banners here. So this is sort of how the total card will go together. And if you're interested in supporting the challenge, Kendra's Patreon, where you would be going anyway to get access to the printable, has some paid tiers as well that give you access to more cool stuff. So let me just show you a little tip that I recently learned. And what we're going to basically wind up doing is laying all these guys out in order. Well, in what order we want, but the sketch itself would have them in this order, orange and then blue. So then that will go on top here. So I think that's going to look pretty cool. So the tip that I heard is that if you flip these over to the back and then line them up and then use some Scotch tape to tape them together, that will make life a lot easier because then you can sort of adhere this whole thing as one piece. So I thought we would try that and see if it works or not. And this one looks a little long. Yeah, these two look slightly long. But I think let's just see how these met out. So I think this looks fine. These aren't exactly, I think this one looks a little long. So let me take a sliver off the orange one here, like that much, because we have our scissors ready for such an event. Whoops. What I'm going to try and do here too is not get these under each other. And then there we go. I do really love these double layer stamps just because they're very nice for mass making because you're not really, once you have them sort of loaded up on a stamp platform or your blocks or whatever works best for you, really you can just stamp out a bunch of them. So I think this is going to look pretty great. So let me just grab a piece of temporary tape, otherwise known as Scotch tape, and I'm just going to get these more or less lined up. Oops. And what you can do is just peel them off the other way. Since it's Scotch tape, they're not going to stick too much. Just gonna stick. It's gonna keep them together, but it's not. They're not going to really go anywhere. So I think this is a pretty cool technique because once you apply glue and glue the other, the piece that's not taped down together, it's really going to be indistinguishable. And this is a lot easier than trying to glue all of these individually. So I think this is a pretty cool idea. So let's just now on these edges, you can either just cut this off, fold it back, whatever you want. I'm just gonna snip it off a little bit. I'm going to pull this back up because it's temporary tape and then just snip that off. I have none there. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side where you can just pull the tape back a little bit, cut off the excess, and there we go. Now that's going to be a lot easier to work with as we go through this. And I did select white for the matte layer here just because I thought it would be good to sort of break things up because there's a lot of color going on already. So I thought it would be neat. We could also do the leaf side, but I thought the um, I don't know what you'd call this. The straight lines, the horizontal line side kind of reminded me of the ocean, so I thought that was kind of a fun look. So I'm just going to glue this down. There we go. And this is going to go right about here. This is going to be the first thing down. So I think I will glue this again. And then put this almost at the bottom and is a hair shorter than the card. So that is good. And the next thing we will do is bring in our friendly little fish. And here the neat thing is because these are together now, we can kind of get a sense of how this is going to mat out. And I do like that. Yeah, I think that'll look good. Then we're going to have our sentiment across this. So I think this is about what we want. So just going to throw a little glue on the back and get this glued down. This is 2 layers thick here, so if you wanted to, you could definitely pop this up a little bit more on the top. You could shim it. I don't think it's going to be super necessary on this card because this is pretty thick cardstock that I stamped on, but just FYI, that's something you could do as well. And then I'm going to just get some glue all over the back here of these, and that should get us glued down. Same things apply as if you wanted to, you could also put a little piece underneath the top here. I'm just going to sort of fit these down. I think because these are relatively long, it's not going to be an issue. And then the last thing we're going to do is just put our little sentiment. I kind of like a little up here just to sort of counterbalance. Since our focal image is a little low, I think putting this a little bit high will be a good thing. So let's just do that. Here we have sketch number 9 done. I think this came out really cute. I like these focal images a lot from this particular set. And if you wanted, like as you can see, the pink isn't all the way on the fin here. What you could actually do is come in with a little brush and you could add a little bit more if you want, or you can leave it as is. I think I'm going to leave it, but just FYI, I know that you always have the ability, um, either with water soluble marker or with just the dye ink. You can come in and do a little bit of extra blending if you wanted this line to be a little softer. Anyway, thanks for watching. I always like you guys dropping by my Tuesday video. And if you make this card, feel free to tag me socially because it's always interesting to see what folks come up with.